Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier is going to be a barn burner. And it's not going to be surprising that it's not going to go to the scorecards, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to the scorecards and they're both scattered blood everywhere all over the canvas on top of broken limbs from the leg kicks of Justin Gaethje, from the hooks and the straight punches that's going to be coming from Dustin Poirier. They're definitely going to be pouring it on, but I think the way that this fight is going to end, it's going to end in a finish, but it's going to end in the later rounds. Now, both guys have a great track record of being able to go the distance, being able to go the extra mile when it comes to fighting through adversity and then fighting through the hardships of whatever it is that they're facing in that particular moment in the fight. So the way that I see this fight going, it's not going to really go that far. But at the same time, I don't see this fight going in a positive direction for their long-term career. Okay, that's the best way to really put it. A lot of these guys, not just Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier, but they take a lot of damage throughout their careers. I'm talking about boxers, MMA fighters, Muay Thai fighters, even wrestlers. There's just a certain amount of bandwidth that your body is going to be able to handle after years of abuse. Even professional wrestlers go through this. But when you're talking about Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, a lot of their damages have been well documented, and you can't help but think that there's going to be an extra factor into this fight. So what does that mean? That means that it's not impossible for Justin Gaethje to finish off Dustin Poirier, but at the same time, it's also not impossible for Dustin Poirier to finish off Justin Gaethje. Now, what is the more likely scenario? I think that Justin Gaethje is more than likely going to be the one getting finished, but you never know. Now, am I saying that's an official prediction? No, I'm just telling you like exactly how this fight goes in terms of their habits, in terms of what they've done before. But at the same time, you can't really not take into consideration the fact that both of these guys have just been taking significant damages all throughout the years, and how this is going to factor into how they're going to perform that night. Now, I think Justin Gaethje is going to have a lot of good leg kicks. He's going to have a lot of good calf kicks, just like Dustin Poirier, who's been adding that to his arsenal, as you've seen in his Conor McGregor fight. Now, who's going to have the better leg kicks out of the both of them? You can say that Justin Gaethje has done it a lot longer. You've noticed in his past PFL, WSO, J fights, when it was the World Series of Fighting, you've noticed that he was able to utilize that early on in his career. Not so much with Dustin Poirier. He was more of a boxer stance type of fighter. Didn't really throw as much kicks as he really did up until the recent times, up until maybe going all the way up to the Dan Hooker fight, and maybe even before that. But he's not really known to be a kicker. But in this particular fight, it's going to matter, right? It's going to matter in how it's going to affect Dustin Poirier, which is why I say that it's not impossible for this fight to go the distance, because of the fact that, well, if Justin Gaethje is able to land those kicks, then it's going to immobilize Dustin Poirier in his movement, in his boxing, in him being able to sit on his shots and hit him with, the hard blows and the hard haymakers that he wants to throw at him. Well, the reality of this fight is that one guy is more likely to finish the other, but it's also highly unlikely that they're going to go the distance. Unlike the competing card that they're going to basically showcase on that same night, which is none other than Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. Now, that fight, that is definitely going distance. Somebody's going to win by points, and a lot of people have Errol Spence as the favorite. So why is that? Is because it's a high-level matchup, right? It's two highly technical guys, and boxing is a very controlled sport to where if you're skilled enough, you can survive. You've seen a lot of journeymen all throughout the centuries do fights almost every weekend because they're able to survive based on the fact that they just have formidable skills that allows them to alleviate a lot of pain, a lot of damage, a lot of injury. Well, guess what? Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier are definitely not that. What they are is an absolute barn burner of a car crash, which is why they're doing it for the BMF belt.